I just heard something big crack. Holy crap!
The Canadian North is one of the most vast areas of wilderness on the planet. The forest here, reaching from Newfoundland to the Rocky Mountains, is the largest tract of unbroken forest in the world. Every year, nearly 2,000 people are lost out here and have to face dangers ranging from the biting cold, exposure, starvation, and even predators. This week, I'm stranded here miles from the closest human being. I have 7 days to not only survive, but find my own way out, all without shelter or water, and with only one match.
Woo! Whew. Canadian North is magnificent this time of year. Nights are clear and cold, and the bugs are all gone. And if you're lucky, you get to experience the first winter snowfall. Love to reward myself with a late fall canoe trip. Problem is, when you're completely alone, if something does go wrong, it's serious. All right, here we go.
Even the most experienced paddlers can be hit with the "it can't happen to me" syndrome.
In most cases on a river like this, canoe can be gone for days downstream. Camera crew leaves me alone now, completely alone. I'm soaked to the bone. It looks like it's gonna rain. And the sun's about to set. 7 more days.
The first thing I have to assess is my situation and get my head straight. The decisions made after an accident like this often define whether you're going to survive or not.
It's the hikers that often, or lost hunters that often have panic set in. They don't think about making a shelter, they don't think about sitting down and staying calm. Often what happens is they just take off and they start going pretty much as fast as they can to try and get out, because they're certain that just around the corner is going to be the trail that they lost, or the road, or their car, or wherever, the parking lot, wherever it was they left to go on that hike. Generally speaking, though, they never find it. Let's just see what's in the pack. All right, camera gear. Cheated a little. There's the camera I'm using right now, and there's another tripod and a case, but inside of my rain pants, spare fleece is gonna help. Yeah, my hat. A handful of cashews, and there's a little bit of beef jerky in there. One match, and a Swiss Army knife. Got a great discovery over here on this side of the river. This big flat rock is going to be a great spot for me to get a huge fire going to try and dry out. The good news is that it's not raining yet. The bad news is that it's snowing. Not very much, but it's snowing. I better get the fire going soon. This big rock area in here might make for a great shelter area if I can build a big fire all along here and reflect the heat back to me later in the night. But this guy's a little bit in the way. Would have helped a lot more if I'd had an axe. Gathering firewood without an axe, it's not easy. You're reduced to pretty much a lot of small wood Takes a lot of gathering. Okay, time to use up a one match. Because I gotta get dry, and I gotta get dry quick.
Success with my one and only match. It's been over an hour since I fell in the water, and I've remained soaked to the skin ever since on this cool autumn day, in great danger of hypothermia.
You know, it took me probably nearly 2 hours to get those clothes dry. Now my job is just to keep that fire going as long and as hot as possible. But night is coming in on me quick. And it's not going to be a warm one. In a couple of hours, or at least when this fire dies down, I'll just sit here and wait for it. I'll then push all the coals up against the big rock, take all these boughs, put them down, and sleep on top with a nice warm bed. Basically all the heat from the rock coming up through the boughs. I call it my Jeremiah Johnson shelter. Now actually it's not a shelter at all. If the wind picks up or if the rain comes down heavy or wet snow, I have a long wet night.
Hypothermia could chill me to the bone and kill me quickly. But it isn't the only danger I'm faced with in this remote Canadian wilderness. Most times, hypothermia doesn't occur in the winter. It happens now, in the fall of the year, when the snow and the freezing rain can catch you by surprise. But there's more. This is the rutting season for the bull moose, and at this time of year, it's the most dangerous animal in North America.
Okay, this is pretty much how I spent my night. Like this. Actually, the boughs on the ground and heating the rock up like that worked really well. The rock is actually still warm to the touch. So I was pretty warm for about the first 3 hours maybe or something. After that though, even with the warmer ground, without having anything over top of me, it just started getting pretty cold. Fortunately it didn't rain. I just heard something big crack. Holy crap. What an incredible sight. I'm trembling. I'm completely trembling right now. I feel a lot better now that I saw that it was a cow moose. I'm trembling because had that been a male bull moose in the rutting season, of which we are in the height of, and I'm in major moose territory, is hands down the most dangerous animal in Canada, bar none. They're absolutely an insane creature during this time of year. 1,500 pounds of absolute rage. And I have been chased and put up a tree before by a huge bull moose during the season. I mean, she's past my camp, but now I'm going to be wondering who's on her trail, because I'm sure she's got a bull or two not too far behind her. I'm trying to get myself further up from the water's edge, and I can feel it getting warmer even right now. Just coming up about 20 feet or so up the hill, you can just feel the temperature difference as you go up in grades, and that's good. So I'm looking for a good shelter spot. I think something's over here. Yeah. So here, check this out. That's not bad. Not bad at all. It does feel warmer up here. There's rocks there, there's sand. It's a little damp here. It's not going to be comfortable, but it's going to work. I'm going to put all these rocks, make a fire pit, so I can have a bit of warmth. That's under the assumption, of course, that I can make a fire without matches. And I'm up for the challenge.
Every location is different, but if I'm to survive 7 days in Canada's north in the fall, shelter is a high priority.
Probably by far the safest way to break a branch is like this. You're protected from getting hit with the branch as it breaks. A lot better than jumping on it.
In the north, an axe holds the same importance as a machete does in the jungle. Without one, survival is extremely difficult.
These spruce boughs actually shed the rain really nicely. I'm not going to be super dry in this thing, but I'll be a heck of a lot drier than I was last night, that's for sure. And I didn't get rained on, but I was wide open. At least this way I've got some protection. I like to actually kind of poke the branches in so that they're nice and smooth like this. You don't really have to, you can just throw them on, but this way all the rain sort of goes with the flow of the boughs. Even if I can't get my fire going tonight, at least I'll be a little more comfortable in here and a little more protected, if not warmer. Sometimes the only way to get yourself a nice sharp edge is to smash a rock. This is dangerous though. End up getting it hit back up in your eye or something. Well, let's see how this goes. Nope. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. I figure I might as well use my rock that I split open here because it'll extend the life of my knife and not dull the blade. That's why also if you can get fires going without matches, even when you have matches, it means you'll have matches for that much longer. All I want is this fluffy cedar bark here. It's good fire starting tinder.
In the fall in the Canadian wilderness, fire is a major priority. My one match was gone long ago, leaving me to start a fire the way it's been done since the dawn of man, by rubbing two sticks together.
These guys here are nicknamed tinder fungus. Let's find out why. Well, I hope I didn't do something stupid here, because I've never tried using this fungus method before, and it's starting to get already a bit dusk on me. I made a decision. It was either add a lot more onto the shelter, so I'm protected from the rain, which looks like might be coming in, or get a fire going, and I opted to try for a fire. Let's see, so I've got my fire bow, which is just the bow and the boot lace, and the spindle, straight and dead and dry, and then to push it all down, I've got this bearing block. It's just a piece of wood, and I've gouged out a hole to hold it all down. And then the bottom end are these funguses here. Let's give them a shot. Oh, man. Guess I should have practiced this one at home. Only ever seen this done. Oh man, this is useless. Okay, I know somewhere out there's some wise bush guy who's saying, "Oh, come on, it's easy." You know, this is working, but it's killing my toes. I'm gonna grab some cedar. Now this method I'm more familiar with, so let's try it. Put a little hole in here to start off. Oh, it spins pretty good. Oh, that's better. Okay. Oh, that's nice. That's a good sign. But you see, it just scatters all around the top here. And it's got to have a place to go. All that dust has to have a place to collect and form like a little ember. So I'm going to cut a notch in the side. Sort of V. There we go. Now hopefully that little notch there will give it a place, all the ash, a place to fall. Come on. I probably should have just kept going on the shelter, cover it all in so I don't get rained on. I'll be cold, but at least I'll be dry. If I don't get to, and that way I start the fire in the morning and put all the materials aside. If I don't get this fire going now. Yeah.
Once I see smoke, it's my signal to keep going, not to quit. And I have to remember to breathe. I've got to give it all I can and then carefully stop so I don't knock everything flying. I don't think there's anything more important than getting my fire going during this damp, cold season.
This looks good. This looks good. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Ooh, I better move the spindles out of the way. Oh, crap. Shoot, shoot, shoot. Talk about panic. I got no wood ready. That's about as stupid as it gets. All right, well, there's enough here from the other fire. I'm gonna build it up nice and high, and then I'll take it into the shelter with me, so I've got it there for the night.
Carrying the fire more than 100 yards through the thick bush was a lot easier said than done.
All right, here's what I got. Now I gotta get my way all the way to the other shelter. Whew. I'm not gonna make it. That was interesting. Tried to make myself a torch to take to the shelter. Got to be a little too much. I'm gonna have to try that again, because I gotta get a fire over to the shelter somehow. Sorry I didn't bring you with me on that one. It's just too much work trying to carry the fire and the camera at the same time. Before it gets too dark, all I'm gonna do now is gather some firewood. Lots of it.
The rule of thumb is, look at your firewood pile. When you first think you have enough, then make it 5 times bigger if you want to make it through the night. There's nothing worse than running out in the dark.
Well, I made it through the night all right. It's a lot better being protected with this shelter. It got too dark on me too quick, and I ran out of time to cover over the shelter more, but it only rained just a little bit, so I wasn't too bad off. And even with my feet getting pretty cold, just being able to warm my face and hands up by the fire or turn around and put my feet by the fire made a big difference. Now I better get this shelter covered over some more, so in case any foul weather does come in, I'll be protected.
I have to start thinking about food. In northern Canada, there's about an 8-week window to gather wild edible plants. After that, if you don't hunt or fish, you'll starve.
Any bit of extra little bit of sustenance I can get is going to be helpful. And here's some yellow wood sorrel. Got a lemony taste to it. It's just a delicate little plant. Grows around wet areas like beaver dams and swamps and moist woods. Not a lot of calories, but at least it's got some vitamins to it.
I don't know if this is true, but I've always done it. I drink a lot of water and mark my territory all around my camp, and hopefully it'll serve as a signal to bears passing by that they shouldn't come in this area. I could be fooling myself, though.
Finding a piece of birch bark like this is great. If you just cut down the center of it, you can take it out, open it up, and you've got yourself a nice shingle, which is going to help to get some of keep you from getting wet. This is actually a good place to find grubs and worms and things that you can throw in the stew pot if you want. But maybe you can also find grubs and things for bait, carpenter ants, and big juicy creepy crawlies. Cook them all up in a nice pot of water and you've got some sustenance there. Oh. Well, there's something I wasn't counting on. Well, I left to get some more boughs and some more firewood. I came back and all the underside of the tree roots here were on fire. They were all, there was flames coming up, and I had to quickly grab a rock and scrape them all down to put out the fire. Well, that's the last thing I want here, even though I want to be warm tonight. That's not the kind of warm I'm talking about. So I'm gonna have to make use of some of the dirt that's here and pack this in and put a bigger rock, a couple of big rocks there to protect this whole underside from catching on fire again. You gotta remember that, man, what I'm making here is one big gigantic tinder bundle. Just staying alive can be dangerous. Ever since I got here, there's been a couple of red squirrels chattering around me all day long. And what I'm making here, well, it's called a figure 4 deadfall. If there's squirrels or rodents like rats or mice around, it works just about on any location to help up the odds of getting some sustenance. And you know, a little bit of meat in my belly tonight would go a long way towards making me warmer, I'm sure. If I can get this to hold, it's like a little hairpin trigger. Ah! Damn. Okay, so this part's a little too big. Try that again. Come on. Ah! Decided to make a whole new set, smaller. And I grabbed a different rock too. Ow! Ow! Ah! Ah! Ow! Last thing I want to do is break a finger. Ow! Ah! Let's try this again. See if I can get this one to work. I don't know what's up today, and I definitely pinched my thumb. You know, it's only a pinched thumb, but out here, every injury is magnified because it's just that much more discomfort you've got to go through when you're out here. Whoa.
I forget to put the bait right on the stick before I lay the trap, so now I have to lay it all around. This could turn out to be a foolish waste of my only food.
But one thing I know I can do right now is this sort of creaky area has got pond lilies, and at the base of them is big tubers full of starches and nutrients, but water is freezing cold, so I'm not looking forward to this. As long as I don't get too cold, it'll be worth it to get the calories.
In just a week or two, these lakes and ponds will start to freeze over for the winter. Right now, it already feels like they're cold enough to form ice.
Oh, that's cold. I don't know if this is even worth it. My body, my core temperature has dropped pretty good because of being in the water like that. With just without any food energy in me now, I'm just getting, I'm losing my energy. I don't have the wherewithal to bother trying to cook this thing up tonight or in any way. Maybe tomorrow. Besides, sun's going down and I gotta get another big pile of firewood ready to make it through the night.
In the northern bush, you've got a scant 6 or 7 weeks of picking wild edibles. While the thought of blueberries and raspberries seems ideal, food to actually survive on is another story. Breakfast. At least these are pretty safe for me to eat. I'm hoping they'll just be bland and give me the nutrients and energy I need right now.
Kind of feels like a roasted marshmallow. Oh, let's hope it tastes like one. Ugh. Oh, God, that's horrible. Oh, okay. Let's try boiling it. Whoa. I'm gonna try and soften up these tubers a bit and maybe kill some of the flavor bite. Ooh, stuck to my glove. By pulling these hot rocks in and basically trying to boil the water in my hat. Fortunately, the hat is a heavy, heavy cotton, I think, so it's holding the water okay. You just keep doing this, you keep replacing hot rocks until you bring the water to a boil. In this case, I'll even cover it over, as it was pretty bitter and acrid tasting, just roasted, but maybe this will soften down the flavor a bit.
I suppose if I was just at home fasting for a week, I'd be okay. But not so when I have to film everything, build shelters, start fires without matches, and climb through thick bush all day.
How appetizing is that?
I really need food so I can function.
Oh, wow. Oh, it's still bitter, but not as bad, I guess. Oh, I gotta get this into me though. I'm starving. I'm really, really hungry. And if I don't get some food into me soon, I'm just gonna get weaker and weaker, and all my energy levels is just dropping down. So I'm gonna have to bear with this. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy. Oh boy.
Well, what goes down must come up. It was just too much and too bitter for my stomach to handle. And I hate being sick in the bush. I hate the thought of killing anything, but as a matter of survival, all creatures are fair game.
Finally, some meat. Escargot, anybody? It's not squirrel meat, but I wish it was. But at least it's gonna be better than pond lily tubers, I can tell you that much. Let's crack one of these guys open, see what we got here. These guys, they're all over the place. Now that I know they're here, I'm gonna just check out all the rocks all the way around this shoreline to see how many of these I can find. I did find a second one right off the bat. There we go. How's that look anyway? Ah, just kidding. I'm gonna roast it on the fire now, on a rock. All I need is some garlic butter. Meat. I'll let the snails cook for a while on the fire, put some more punky logs on, and as you can see, we're back to this again. Just an all-day drizzle, it seems like. At least it's not snow. That's a cold wind that keeps coming in here every once in a while. It just feels like winter coming in, you know. Well, it probably doesn't look all that bad on camera, but trust me, it's a downpour. In fact, just a few moments ago, it was also thick snow as well. And like an idiot, I've got rain pants and I haven't been wearing them. They've been rolled up in my pocket the whole time. I'm gonna go hide in my little shelter. Enough of this. Okay, well, I'm in my little shelter. I'm actually dry in here. The shelter's keeping me pretty dry. The fire's out though. I figured it's a lot easier to put a couple of big punky logs on that big outside fire and let it sit out the rain than to try and feed this one for the next couple hours. For one thing, it would just use up all my small firewood that I need in the middle of the night. So now I just wait. Here's one cold, wet fire. Nothing burning there. Not only isn't raining and doesn't look like any chance of breaking. But look at this, my deadfall is still standing, but the food's gone. It was so stupid, I didn't stick the little bit of jerky right onto that twig, onto that branch. They would have had to pull at it. Instead, I was being lazy and, oh man, and I'm paying for it now. This is not the breakfast I was hoping for. It's been about 48 hours, I think, of non-stop rain. I haven't filmed, I haven't done anything. I just huddled in my shelter and I slept. At least it didn't seem to be that cold, I guess, with the cloud cover. So I did sleep a lot. But
After 2 days of solid rain, it was a matter of get up, dry out a bit, shake it off, and start planning my escape.
I know there's a highway off to the east, and it could be 5 kilometers, could be 50 kilometers. I don't remember how far. With any luck, maybe it'd only take me a day. I don't know. I was gonna get hiking. With it raining for 2 days nonstop, I thought, well, I didn't want to go ahead and eat that snail without you and not share the meal with you. So I still have it. Actually, my 2 little snails. I still need some garlic butter with them. Okay, so that's it. 2 snails, 3 cashews today, and a little bit of jerky. Oh, and I'm just raring to go. You know, sometimes the decision to stay or go is made for you. Like, what if you're 100 miles from anywhere and you know there's no way of hiking out? Other times, it's just a very critical decision that you simply must make right in the beginning. Am I going to stay? Am I going to go? Well, you know, can I stay? Is there a place, is there a way of getting food around here? Holy mackerel. This just keeps getting, it's like the forest is closing in on me here. You know, can I get food? Can I make shelter? Is anybody even going to come looking for me? Heck, does anybody even know I'm gone? And am I able to move around? Am I capable of traveling? These are all important questions you've got to ask before you make the decision to move. On the other hand, you might make it out to safety before anybody even knows you're gone. I hate that feeling like you've lost your sense of direction. Huh. Okay, look at this. Well, the moss only grows on the north sides of trees, you know. You can see all the moss here. And this is definitely the north side. I can tell by the sun right now. This is definitely the north side of the tree. And then it's clear over here. So that works out pretty true, but you know what? A lot of times, it's not true at all. I've seen thousands of trees where the moss is just circled all the way around, and you know, you can't use it as a gauge. Look, here's another tree just over here. Same thing again, that's the north side of the tree. So in this case, you know, that's a bit of a bearing for me, and I'm going to use it because I want to go due east. I've come to yet another lake. Pretty much hit it right at the tip end of it here, because it's a long lake. It would have been a long lake to walk around, so good news is it's some treats for me here. It's not the right season, but still helpful. Let's see what it's like. These guys, like in June, all down in here is actually quite fresh, and in my mind, it's actually even quite tasty. And they're full of starches and nutrients. I have a feeling, yeah, it's pretty old in the season, but it's already gone woody on me. Not much chance of eating that. I can always use the top end. It's good for tinder. It's good for stuffing for my clothing to keep me warm if I needed it, or it's good fire starter. This stuff goes up like just like gasoline, you put a little spark to it.
My mantra in a situation like this, keep moving ahead. But I've got to deal cautiously and carefully with every obstacle that I encounter. Icy creek crossings, lakes to get around, thick, tangled bush. There's no room for bravado or carelessness when you're alone in the bush.
I see something over there that's good to take hold of right now. Grab what I can while I can. Birch bark. You know, from an environmental perspective, I don't like denuding the forest of anything. And even in taking this birch bark, you know, I'm just taking, I mean, I'm in a survival situation, so, I mean, you do whatever you have to do to survive. But I'm just taking, you know, the dead hanging bark, or looking for a tree that's already on the ground and pulling the bark off that, rather than stripping the tree all the way around. That can kill a birch tree. Well, that creek wasn't so tough to jump over. This lake is another story. It's a long, thin lake, and it's right in my path. Probably go that way. I estimate at least 2 kilometers extra just to get around this lake. Man, it's windy and cold now. It's clear, but it's certainly getting colder, in spite of how beautiful it looks. I've been walking and walking, and I thought, you know, well, either I'm going to hit that highway or at least another lake, and I'll stay by a lake. I'd feel better for some reason waiting beside a lake for the night to pass. That's not happening, and there's only maybe like an hour and a half, maybe an hour of sunlight left, so I'm going to use that time to build a big fire here, if my fire bow will work again, and just pull an all-nighter beside a fire. It's cold, and I'm cold from getting in and out of that water. Ow. Woohoo! Oh, yeah. I'm just gonna spend the next hour left of sunlight gathering firewood and some boughs to sleep on, and that's it. Then I'm getting up and out of here as soon as I can. But I'm too tired and too chilled to keep walking. The whole psychological part of being completely alone really comes into play here. The purpose of the fire is to keep away the boogeyman and all things that go bump in the night. Because it's gonna be spooky out here, because I'm right in the thick of it, just in the middle of the forest. I'm gonna warm up these rocks, and at different times, just in intervals, when they're not too hot, just warm, and take them and just tuck them right inside, up against the cold areas, the small of my back, and like little mini hot water bottles. That'll help, that'll keep me warm, like on my back end here tonight. Well, the front's warm by the fire, the back will be warm by these rocks. It keeps snowing off and on, just little tiny light flakes. Hopefully it won't come on any thicker. I just hope this passes through quick. I gotta go get my other coat on.
I have one more day to find a road, or some kind of help. After that, the crew will put a helicopter in the air and look for me.
Oh man, you know, layering's been great. Being like dressed in layers when you're out in a place like this, because you're cold at night, but during the day you're trying to, you know, get out of here, get rescued or escape, and you overheat really quickly. So I just keep stripping down layer upon layer until you know, I'm comfortable and I'm not sweating. Sweating's the worst thing. If I start to sweat, oh, it just makes the nights miserable, because then you just get those chills, you know, and that's not fun. Oh, something. Looks like another creek. No. Hey. Oh, this is a nice sign for the weary wanderer. Oh, yeah. Okay, well, now I got a decision to make. Do you follow them? Or do you keep going east because you think there's a highway over there? You could go up the railway tracks and be right around the corner from, you know, an establishment. On the other hand, you could be 250, 300 kilometers from the next junction. And maybe the place that's close is that way, and you go that way. In this case, my decision, I think, is just to keep going east. I'm gonna take the chance.
I know what you're thinking. He should follow the tracks. The thing is, I know without a shadow of doubt that the road is due east, and not much farther. I'm going with a sure thing.
Well, here I am, yet another night. I really thought I was gonna make it out by the end of tonight, except, you know, the sun's going down, and here I am at another lake. I gotta traverse around. Sucks. I'm gonna curl up somewhere beside a tree, I guess. That would be fun.
As I try to sleep, I'm still panicking at having made a wrong decision about my route. I know where I paddled into, and I was fairly confident on where I had to go to get out, due east. What could go wrong? But my guess was maybe one really long day of walking, not 3.
Hey, this is a good sign, a hydro line. It's not always that good of an idea to follow them, though. These things can go miles and miles in either direction. And the thing about hydro lines is they can go right up and over lakes and swamps and just keep going. And you can't. I'm just gonna keep heading east. I gotta stick to my guns, carry on. Because it doesn't necessarily mean salvation when you find a hydro line. Whew. Means I'm getting close, though.
Now I'm desperate. I just want to get out. I start making the mistake of letting myself get wet. I know the producers will be looking for me. Every time I come up to water, I just don't care anymore. And before you know it, my pants are starting to get soaked. A dangerous situation if I'm stuck outside one more night.
These burned over areas can be a lot of tricky climbing and scrambling. But I happen to love this burned over. Why? Because I can hear the highway. Hear it? Yeah, I can see it. My feet are freezing. That's a little kind, I won't stop. Hey, yeah, all right.